Okay, Supernova. Now I can try and understand you better. How are you doing?
Yeah, good, good. How are you doing today? Everyone okay?
Yeah, yeah, I'm good.
Doing great. I did no work today, but I'm doing great. Probably because of that. Yeah.
So do I. No
Okay,
work from sun is shining.
What do you guys did?
Great.
so we have 100% motivation. Am I right in assuming that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, cool. Sorry, I had a really good time on this one. So I have caught up with reading except for the last two articles. So I didn't read Lightspeed Democracy and I didn't read Verifying Token-Based Systems, even though should have read this one. I'm a huge fan of Trent, so should have read this one, but I didn't. But everything
Can do
else
the
is
light
done.
speed now.
How have you guys been doing? Rural, you haven't also
Same
read.
thing for me. I think yeah, light speed is the one I missed, and everything else I've done. Oh, and yeah, I think the other one, Harvard one, the what is it called? The software directing humans. That one I've finished halfway through. It's not completely.
Software Directing Humans. You know, I read this one. I wrote I hope I wrote a good summary, kind of featuring the key takeaways. And okay, but first things first, guys. Let's go
Guys,
back
what
to
do you
part
talk about?
one. Your little exercise. I want to know about your exercise.
Yeah. All right. Should we split uh, or share our text or just reading it?
I think reading it, if you want, you can share it in the side chat as well. But maybe reading it is already a good start.
If that's okay, I would start.
Yeah.
Okay. So I do not have a really detailed answer to the first a big question, about the present political system, because I guess we already talked a little bit about this 4 or 5 sessions ago. Also, just a quick answer to that. I think we see deficiencies with regard to informed decision making in our political systems as well as in company decision making. There might arise or be problems with checks and balances as well as with accountability with regard to stakeholders.
Yeah.
And I think Mensa Olson, famous economist, is quite right that certain kind of special interest groups are externalizing costs to the public and getting rents out of the system. So that would be my answer to the first question. Then why are you taking this course and what are you most interested in Web3 governance? My answer would be the use of token economics allows private companies, non-profit organizations, or more in general, any kind of community to implement new ways of participation, be it financial or vocal.
Mm-hmm.
This will lead to new forms of ownership and governance that might overcome typical problems of hierarchical organizations, imbalances with regard to the distribution of power, and free riding behavior. As is well known in the field of public finance, the core problems in producing public goods are centered around the so-called non-excludability principle as well as non-rival consumption. In the blockchain space, non-rivalry like open source software can lead to massive innovation and improvement. Tokenomics might allow a better way for preference regulation and the creation of property rights, even for intangible goods. What do you hope to learn or take away from this course? Seen before the background, it's my hope that Web3 governance offers alternative mechanisms for the coordination and managerial steering of human communities. I would like to learn about different ways to govern the company as well as the council. Modeling of those governance structures should allow for some kind of theoretical and computational testing before implementing it to real world organizations. And with regard to the last one, let's start with the worst case, which is still very, very satisfying. I learned a lot about the complex field of token economics and token engineering. As a dream outcome, I would expect to build up some kind of DAO that uses the token-based economic system
very thorough, I think. Anyone wants to comment?
I can say something. I mean, I really resonate, and so I missed some of it. I have to go open the door for a bit, but at least the first and the second question I heard completely, and I really feel like because of your economics background, you have such a thorough understanding of what the real value add of the space is, and I do feel like, especially the public goods, private goods, I feel like we've had this conversation. Like we really resonate on the idea that there is genuinely some innovation happening in that area. So I do think that um, you really highlighted exactly what I think excites me too on the economic side of that field.
Cool.
And very well articulated. Yeah.
That was so nice of you to say, Roro.
Can I get a screenshot of this, like of the answers?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Just wait a minute. Where should I post it?
Maybe in the learners group or the chat here, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, maybe in the visual learners actual chat, because I think it's nice to collect those and have them accessible. Maybe even pin them, because it kind of matters, right? Motivation matters. So, yeah. Grayscale, you want to go next?
Yes, I can go next. The thing is, I did think of these questions this week in detail. I mean, I really trying to formulate, my ideas on this. Because it really made me think of, how I actually, think about, like decision, based, organizations that I've been a part of. I didn't formalize my, my three, paragraph in the way that, in the way that the assignment was.
Wait, so you didn't do your homework? Is that what you're saying?
No, I spent a lot of time on really thinking about everything, and when I came to the conclusion, like we would go with the questions. Let's see. It related something, like the second question of let me speak it up. Like why am I taking this course? And what are the most interesting things in, where to the governance? And I can definitely answer that question in the way that, like, I come from a background of consumer testing. Basically, we were there to evaluate, products. But in order to do that, in order to get a score, you have to set up some type of what I always see a big theme of in this course is framework, a blueprint, a toolkit, and all the way from module 2, where we had that digital economic design, blueprint. Because what I always had to do was kind of set up some type of what you call a protocol that took what the manufacturer claimed the product can do, and then you had to compare it to what the consumer is going to use it, how they're going to use it, and then you have to also think about the specs of the device or the product that you're actually testing, and then you have to come up with a score. So so my background of doing protocol design was a big thing. And it's really nice to see that that's really what is kind of sprinkled in this course. So in the DAO, one of the things we had to read, it was talking about the platform design toolkit, and I really appreciate that toolkit because it goes really deep into you getting yourself together and finding out exactly how to proceed in like designing this ecosystem with all the different stakeholders and players. And so I spent a lot of time going really deep in that protocol or framework. So that to me was kind of more exciting this week than trying to put all the questions together in a cohesive way. But I will put them in the 3-paragraph way. But I think I got a lot more benefit in going down that rabbit hole of all the protocols.
Wait, which protocols are you referring from? Is this anything from Module 5, or is like?
Yes, it's in Module 5. It's the we had to read Can DAOs be entrepreneurial ecosystems enabling organizations? And in that reading, it's in the DAO area. In that reading, it goes into details, it links a whole lot of frameworks and toolkits, and it gets really, really heavily into, like from mapping to, like it's just another way of actually getting your thoughts together on trying to organize it.
Oh man, can you point out which article that was? I think I forgot which one it was.
It's in the DAO. It's
Software Directing Humans or the Census Protocol?
No, it's Can DAOs be entrepreneurial ecosystems enabling organizations? So EEOs. It's in the DAO section.
Oh, it's in the DAO specific section, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I haven't gotten to. You're jumping here.
Yeah.
Okay.
We are ahead.
Yeah, I have to check this.
Well, we were going, I guess the last couple of weeks we were just going down. I just was doing 4 at a time, so that one came up.
Got you.
But when you get to that one, you'll see exactly what I mean as far as like different frameworks. Like in Module 2, like I said, we had. I thought it was interesting that a framework came up. It was called the Digital Ecosystem Design, and the people who designed that one, they took from these guys in this reading. So so the thread kind of continues on from Module 2 to Module 5 as far as readings and space.
That's really cool. Yeah, I'm trying to make a note that you got, like on my board, that you got really excited about the EEOs. So.
Oh yeah, that's why I see, because I was trying to think about where I fit into this whole system and protocol design.
Yeah.
Designing ecosystems. That's kind of where I see myself.
Yeah. No, that's really cool that you found something that like really motivates you, and actually it's kind of the answer to the 3 questions, right? So you're not wrong about this. Okay, cool. Thank you for sharing.
So where can I find the document?
It's in the reading. It's the second one from the bottom of the DAO section.
So like there's a list, there's a section for DAOs specifically.
Yeah, there's no numbers. I thought we were, and the thing is that when you read it, it's there's a lot of links, and you have to really go through all the links, and they'll connect you to all these frameworks. And the thing is, you can download the frameworks, but there's also, and it's all free, and you can also, if you don't want to download it and do the exercise there, there's a way to, have like a Miro type board to, do your investigation and get your answers to the stakeholders and all that stuff. So like, if you're setting up a DAO, or if you're setting up any type of ecosystem, you can use these frameworks to kind of guide you through, getting exactly to the point.
I mean, if we're already on it, let's take a look together, right? It's this one, correct? Yeah?
Yes.
And this is the framework you're mentioning?
Well, that's one framework. Like there's like 3 or 4, but you can get to all frameworks through here.
You're like my friend. You're like my friend Lauren Catcher. She loves diagrams. You love diagrams, don't you?
Well, yeah. I mean, it's cool.
No, it's great. There was no judgment included. It's just like there are people who feel specifically attracted to diagrams. I just recently learned this. And there's that kind of people. It's a nice kind of people. I like that kind of people.
It's like easy to come with a product.
Yeah.
Well, it also makes it easy to explain to other people because you always try to communicate your thoughts, so you can put it in a nice diagram. And that YouTube video is also very helpful into getting to like knowing how to use the charts and things like that. So
yeah.
Because I also find that sometimes you're in this space where everyone wants to get together and communicate. You're trying to put together something, some type of community organization down. How you're going to structure it, and then it's one thing to have an idea and try to get everyone involved in staking this and everything else. But if you have a guide that everyone can see at the same time, that said, this is what we're doing, this is how we're going to go about it. And it still has to be flexible also. It's all there. So there's no thing about, well, I didn't know this, I didn't see this wasn't communicated properly. It's all in the framework, and I like those types of things for the protocols.
Yeah.
But like I said, all through the course, there's like hints of these protocols all through the course, and I guess I'm just picking up on the thread, and so.
Yeah. Man, yeah, it's honestly like even doing like the normal reading for this week. I had, but I don't want to get stuck here. I rather want to ask you guys. But like I had several where I was like, this is really really good, right? It's like, I don't know, it was like enlightening to a certain degree, and I really enjoyed the reading, even though it was a lot. Wait, Supernova, you want to share your key questions or like?
Yeah. Okay, so the political systems and decision making in organization that I've been part of. So yeah, I've been in a place where you don't find like mental health coverage like in my country. So the problem that I had is the affordability and the insurance coverage didn't cover my plan of mental health, addressing my mental health. So yeah, the political systems influence here decision making in mental health. For example, let's say in some countries, mental health care is primarily provided by the government or public health sector, while in others it is largely left to the private sector. This can impact the quality and accessibility of mental health services, as well as the level of government funding and investment in mental health. So yeah, I found a work that is very thorough. So, like as Richard Frank said, people with mental illnesses should have access to high-quality treatments for their illnesses and protection against the cost of care that meets their healthcare needs in the same way that any other health needs are addressed. So there's a lot of people find like these kind of challenges in their life. Yeah. some people are insured, some are not, and there's a lack of financial resources prevents them from seeking help and leads to inconsistent treatment. For example, a traditional 60-minute therapy session can range from $100 to $200, depending on the state and whether the provider is considered in network. Moreover, treating severe diagnoses can carry even heavier lifetime cost burdens. For example, a patient with major depression can spend an average of $10,000 a year on treatment. The thing that I want to change is the limited coverage. For example, the insurance plans may have limits on the number of mental health visits, types of services that are covered, can impact the quality and continuity of care. Of course, mental health can be expensive. Some insurance plans may not cover certain types of providers or treatments, which can limit options for people seeking help. There is also patients with insurance coverage often face restrictions and limitations that inhibit access to behavioral health care. Insurance may limit treatment and only cover services that deem medically necessary. Those are the main challenges people face. So I have some supporting data. For example, a report by the National Institute of Mental Health estimated that mental illness costs in the U.S. economy approximately is $193 billion in lost earning each year.
Wow.
People face almost 70% of therapists do not accept insurance because of the administrative burden and the time commitment required. Especially for the 85% of therapists who are solo practitioners. This drives up the cost of therapy, rendering it inaccessible to many Americans desperately seeking support. So I think that, in my opinion, we can leverage other technologies so we can create a new economy of people who cannot afford mental health. I found a new way to implement. I think it's called a mutual credit system.
Okay.
This mutual credit system relies on a distributed ledger technology, which means in blockchain there is a decentralized ledger technology. People rely on one global ledger, and I found this technology, as I said before, whole chain. They have a distributed ledger technology, which means everyone have his own ledger. So everyone controls the money flow, and everyone has his own currency. I think I could share with you the link if you can see her.
Yes, please share again. And now in that whole context, Holochain makes so much more sense. I still haven't gotten around to read about it, but you now, bringing this into context, I'm like, oh, wow, okay, that makes a ton of sense. This is really fascinating.
There is 2 projects now that are really innovative. I've never seen some innovation before like this. So they combine blockchain and holochain together. I'm gonna drop the link so you can see, because it's I don't want to hijack that session now. So I'm gonna just share the links and you can take a look.
I don't think you're hijacking. What did you say was the name of the credit system?
Mutual credit system.
Mutual.
Yeah. Okay.
So, why are you taking this course, and what are you most interested in? What we cover? For me, governance is part of my plan of creating a free mental health economy that everyone benefits from this technology from mental health support and without a cost, and that everyone, like, for example, if I create a organization, I would also benefit from people who are benefiting from mental health for free using these two technologies, blockchain and whole chain. I'm willing to create a two currency layers. Uh, One is blockchain, of course, using tokenized network, and the second is a mutual credit system.
Mm.
Okay, and so I just want to understand the concept of tokenomics and like everything here involved. Okay. So yeah, this answers two questions here. What do you hope to learn or take away from this course? Yeah, answer this.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you for
That's
sharing.
pretty fascinating. Although my hunch would be that I would say that don't think about the technology as much. Like, don't constrain yourself to whether you use blockchain or holochain or whatever. I think solving the like problem from incentive structures and like going through the entire process of the design phase, discovery phase that you went through in the course will definitely help you. And I don't think you need to think too much about the infrastructure there, but that's my
That's my problem. I think too much, and like I'm a perfectionist, I think, and that's like a challenge for me. I just like something perfect. I want something perfect, and yeah.
Yeah, no, don't even start thinking this way. You're gonna cut yourself. Seriously.
yeah, because you don't need to think about how the infrastructure is running. Like, for example, if I want to start a social media company, I'm not going to think about how the TCP/IP protocol works and how my data is being routed through other servers. Like, none of that is really relevant to me to start a social media company. I'm just saying that thinking about without the constraints of technology, think about how the problem would ideally be solved, and then figure out which technology suits that you set up better.
That makes sense.
You know, it's so funny you're saying this, Roro, because I know this is like a horrendous reference to bring up, but in fashion design, I don't know if you guys know, there's like haute couture, which is like the pinnacle of fashion, right? And then there's like ready to wear, and then there's fast fashion. And every time people employ you to design something, they want you to usually do fast fashion or ready to wear, right? So like definitely a few levels like towards the bottom. But what they in fact need you to design is the most outrageous version of that, so they can trim it down. And here's the problem: you cannot trim it down, right, if you're already trying to serve like a specific kind of final goal. So you need to go and exaggerate a little bit, and then from this like exaggerated layer, you can trim it down to whatever you need, So I agree with Roho, like, do the best in like conceptualizing this, right? Be a little bit outrageous and utopian, and after that you find like the building blocks. Trent McConaughey, I think, was the one who said this in the first module in one of his, I think it was Trent, right, Roro? Help me out.
Yeah, I think so.
He said like find the building blocks, right? Find existing building blocks after you have like done your investigation and come up like with the actual concept of what you want to solve. So I think it was him, right? Or help me? Maybe?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, right. And
Okay.
also, it's also very easy to get lost in the jargon, especially with tech fields like this. Like, where,
True.
like, we hear blockchain, we hear tokens, and we're like, oh wow, there's something here. And that's what happens to every project, where a lot of people get lost in the jargon of something new. But at the end of the day, it's the same. I would say it's new, but it's similar things from, I don't know how to frame it. I just feel like we get lost in the jargon and we think there's some magic in the world. But actually, if you understand the incentive structures and stakeholders, like that's all you need to really understand to know how to solve a problem. And then use whatever technology fits it better. It could even not be Web3, maybe. But the ideas from Web3 can be used in like a Web2 system. Who knows?
Yeah, you could even do, run a study first and really like inquire with mental health patients, like what are they looking for, or with, in your case, with the therapists, right? Like what kind of system are they looking for? Like what feels actually easy to them? Because what feels easy to you might not apply to them, right? So come up with essentially building out a study. I think that could be a good basis to start on. But
It's like the frameworks that I've mentioned before. Help you in doing that and asking the right questions with the stakeholders to try to get to the point where it's all going to make sense. But I do like your analysis, Stella, about the fashion, because that was kind of a little bit different than testing, where say if I was testing a digital camera, and the manufacturers always put all the features in like the top line of the camera, and then they would take out small pieces and make second and third tier cameras marketed to different people. But if you got the top, like the top of the line in the brand, you will almost guaranteed to have all the features. So the thing is a little bit different here in this space, where he said, like just have a problem in mind and try to solve it without thinking about the whole technology and things like that.
Thanks for digging my fashion references.
Luca, I was wondering if you have any inputs here, because you could frame the mental health access as a potential public goods problem.
So I thought about one particular, what do you call it? Like target audience. Target audience, which is startup founders, are the most people who get affected with like depression, anxiety, ADHD, and a lot of disorders.
I'm absolutely not surprised by the slightest.
Because due to the stress daily, and I guess I'm gonna focus on that target audience. After that, I'm gonna build a marketplace for them. Free.
Like I'm totally your target audience. I love it.
Sorry, are you talking about marketplace for illnesses?
No. Marketplace for therapists and.
I thought I could sell my physical or mental problem.
Let's trade, Luca.
Yeah, and you can buy weird NFTs when you change according to my mental mood.
These Stella's super stressed this week, so maybe I'll take the stress away for like 2 days. How about that?
Oh, I would love that. Let's make a trade.
These ideas. I think I would like add them to my project. Alright. So
please don't add. Please don't add.
No, but one second. I wanted Luca's opinion. Can you frame the mental health access as a public goods problem?
This is to me, or?
Yeah, to you.
Well, sure. I mean, the main reason to have some kind of state involved in insurance markets is to have some kind of spread of health risks. So, someone who works in the bureaucracy do not have the same, let's say, danger getting ill or having an accident as someone that is working on I don't know, a skyscraper or something like that. Yeah. So there are different risks to life depending on your life circumstances, and by coordinating this on a societal level, you have a kind of spreading the risk and sharing the cost. So that would be one reason why usually the government is involved, at least in organizing the healthcare system. But as has been said by Supernova, a lot of people do not have this kind of access, or in some countries, even like the US, you do not have this kind of social security system that gives you this kind of safety. And then it might be a good idea to have some alternative mechanism for sharing the risk and sharing the cost.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that does answer my question. And yeah, I think, I mean, then Web3 does seem like, I mean, at least the ideas in Web3, like quadratic funding, and some of these other potential tools could be used. Can we think about it that way? I don't know, but we can discuss this later, I guess.
I was just wondering how you can get the financial part right.
Yeah.
So I'm not that used to this kind of mutual system, but I mean, someone has to pay for doctors and therapists and so on.
I think.
And what will be, Web3 version of financial?
Can I do an interim?
Yes. Go ahead.
Okay. So I think if I understood you correctly, Supernova, you're trying to solve the problem that right now there is like a ton of administrative tasks that need to be fulfilled by a therapist, which is essentially why why people cannot just go to a therapist and book sessions because those therapists will not take the insurance over like direct payment. Actually, this is the same here in Peru.
Yeah.
Like getting your payment back from even from hospitals here. So this part is worse here because the hospitals are not like in the same infrastructure either. So I have to pay everything cash. So I go to the doctor, I just have to bring cash, even though I have insurance, because it's just like
that's the problem with
right?
With the under. I don't want to say this, but they say like the underpopulation, that people that they are not they don't have insurance, and because insurance like they don't get accepted to.
Oh yeah, it's only 30% of people in Peru are even officially working, right? Even though everyone is working, right? So not to mention that because they are illegal workers essentially, even though this is their country, right? They don't have any form of insurance. There's nothing. 70% of people in this country. That's fucking crazy, right? But even though I have actually the top insurance money can buy in this country, I'm facing a very similar issue in which I still have to, because it's just insanity. It will take you days to get a payment back, days, and you have to go everywhere manually. So I don't have the time. If I have to then pay the $100, I pay the $100 because it will otherwise cost me in working hours more than $400 to go and get my payment back, which is at the other side of this like extremely stupid system. So I think it's, in your case, it's not just about like maybe funding people who don't have like even access to insurance, right? But it's also about like easing the infrastructure so people who have insurance can actually perform all of these procedures or sessions with the therapists and have the insurance pay, right? So it's also about making the system easier and better. Correct?
Yeah, that's correct. But one part of this analysis It's that there's insurance companies that doesn't cover all mental health plans, and
okay.
that's a problem for people who are holding some insurance coverage. And what I'm trying to do here is like it's not uh, giving access to everyone, people who have insurance and people who don't have insurance, and even the insurance company, we can give them this like this, they can adopt this system, this mutual credit system, and so we can, you know, everyone benefit from this system. Yeah. So the thing what he was trying to say Lutra, is how we gonna pay those therapists.
Yeah.
Yeah. There is mutual credit system. Everyone doesn't have like a balance. The balance is 0, 0, 0, 0. Yeah. So let's say Lutra is the buyer and I am the seller, and Stella, you're my helper. Yeah. So if I'm trying to buy something from Lutra, my I mean, it's like I'm gonna promise him. I'm gonna promise him that I'm going to pay him after I get some credits from you still, right? And so after
So it's like borrow and lending.
yes, it's like borrowing, lending, but it's not really complicated to explain. It's like the same thing I have. I need a diagram to explain my deal.
Okay, homework for next week. Supernova makes a
Yeah.
diagram for all of
Please share
this.
it to us.
Yes. I'm trying right now to do that diagram. I've been like a whole week focusing on this diagram. It's not yet finished, but I'm gonna share it like next week. Yeah, for sure.
You know what's like? I know it has absolutely nothing to do with your idea, but the mechanism could be interesting. So, have you heard about Give ETH?
No.
Okay, so Give ETH is actually it comes straight from like Griff Green, who's very involved in like Gitcoin and all of this. Let me check if I can find the Twitter. Yeah, I can find the Twitter fast. Wait. Why is this? Why does this look like this? Okay. Let me send you this. So the mechanism, I'm gonna put this in the visual learners chat. Yeah, this is it. Their mechanism works through donations, right? So I think every month they're focusing on like, or every, like I want to say every cycle, they focus on like a specific thing that, you know, the community wants to donate for. So for example, when the earthquakes happened in Turkey, right, that was obviously a top priority. And then whatever you as a donator send to Give ETH to be given to, you know, help over there, you get a percentage of what you've donated back into their in their native token, which obviously the more the protocol is being used to, you know, perform donations, the further the Give ETH coin is going to grow, right? So maybe that's an implementation you want to think about. Maybe.
What's the use of the Give ETH coin exactly?
I mean, that's, I think, the bad side of it right now for nothing, but Supernova could be thinking of a way to make
So
this
it's more
useful.
of a reputation thing for them, right?
Yeah, it's more for
Yeah.
reputation. But so, for example, in my case, right, like what should be my motivation to help Supernova, right? We're not friends, right? I don't know you. Like, why should I do this? Why should I not give my coins to help some animals in India, for example? Okay, so I think you need to think like beyond the fact of like people just wanting to be nice. I mean, good for us. A lot of people in Web3 I think personally have the tendency to just be nice people. But what can you give them in like economic return or potential economic return that motivates them to, you know, give you the coins to actually take the session with Lutra, right? So something like this. Like I feel more motivated to donate through GiveEth than anywhere else, honestly. Right?
So it depends on motivation, right?
I think everything is, sadly. So for, if you have obviously other people who have similar problems, right? Maybe it could be to take part in an exclusive, and not exclusive, but if you own these coins, right? Maybe you can take part in a self-help group that happens every week, right? Or something like this, something that enables people to say like, I feel motivated and I'm not alone in this. I think especially for mental health, it feels like it's a very important thing to not feel like you're the only one suffering from this specific thing, right? I have a friend right now who just, after I told her a year ago that I think she suffers from ADHD and autism, and and now she found out she suffers from ADHD and autism, and it's been a really, like, I'm saying this like with a little bit of fun because we had to laugh about the fact, right, that I said this like somewhere on the side, and then it became true, and it led to her actually having a really hardcore burnout, right? And I don't know if you guys know this, but if you're suffering from autism, then your burnout it's a whole other level of burnout. So it's not just a regular burnout, is what I'm trying to say, I guess. And so she's
been crying all the time.
Huh?
Yeah. You keep crying all the time.
Yes, exactly. Because she was like, why am I fucking crying all the time? Like, what's wrong with me? It's just like, it's really like, you feel like you're dissolving, I think. And yeah, and so I think for her it was really important to find out that she is not alone with this, and obviously also to do the research on like what does autism really mean in her case, because before this I think she associated autism with, like my neighbor's kid, like, he suffers from a very I think there's a name for it, what's it called, low functioning autism. I think that's the wording, but I'm not super sure. I'm not a specialist in this by all means. And he really, like, he has trouble speaking, communicating, it's like really hard. So I think until it hit her, right, she had these kind of associations with autism, and she wasn't really aware that there's also high functioning autism, and that works like in different grading levels. So I think looking more into the people who are like your stakeholders and people who are using your system will automatically lead to finding like motivations and mechanisms that you could put in place for them to loop the system back into itself.
By learning about the stakeholders, you're gonna learn about their behaviors first, and from that you can personalize that solution.
You got it all figured out, I think. You're gonna do great with this. I think it will respond to a lot of people if you can actually pull this off.
And
sorry, one idea could be, I'm just searching for some kind of use case, for your mental health coin. Maybe if you get some donors that are therapists and are willing and able to give some kind of free sessions, then you could use the token to get free sessions from therapists. I mean, that would be one way to connect use case to the token system.
Yeah, because there's also a lot of therapists who are, like when they're starting out, or they're not getting clients or something. There must be a lot of people, therapists who have the time to give, but they need to build maybe like a portfolio of reputation in that sense. So the value that you could add to them would be that they would offer free sessions. They get maybe the customers give them, I don't know if rating makes sense, because I know in India this is a problem where a lot of therapists actually so there's a lot of therapists out there, but most of them aren't actually that good, and you actually end up basically referring to word of mouth, where you ask people, hey, who's the really good one, like based on your experience. And there's a list that was floating around recently of the like among like the young crowd, especially the LGBT crowd and stuff like that, where because there are many therapists are super orthodox, and they have they're not open to certain ideas, while some are. So maybe especially that community really wanted to know which therapists are the ones that we should go to who are accepting of our diversity or whatever. I feel like maybe there's some value addition there where maybe users can not rate, but I guess give tokens based on their experiences, and maybe that gets accumulated as a reputation system. I don't know if that makes sense.
That's actually a really good idea, I think.
I mean, we're just thinking about potential value capturing mechanisms through which you can almost the network effects themselves will like then lead to more and more people wanting to use the system. I don't know if that makes sense. Yeah.
Hmm.
I'm just having a hard time understanding the reputation system in blockchain. How does it operate? And yeah, if someone could
That's right. That's right. Don't think about blockchain. Just think about like a rating, like. Uh, uh, but again, again, you'll have to think about how to actually tie it because it's a weird thing to get rating to. But yeah.
So yeah, like I said before, I have a solution, but it's not right now. I'm trying to write a solution in a diagram so I can, for that, I can talk to other experts in the field of mental health, and I can, introduce them to this new system. I guess, and after that, we'll see how it goes.
And also maybe an additional building block should be some form of KYC, especially for the therapists. I don't know, do you know KYC DAO?
KYC, no, I've seen it before, but I didn't get the chance to look at it.
It's actually a friend of mine is very involved in this one. And they, this confirmed success. This was for Eat Denver. I'm still trying to get my payout.
Yeah.
Right, I'm putting this in the chat for you as well.
Are you involved in it?
No, I'm not involved in this. But my friend Balash, he is very big part of this, and they've been doing really well on like verifying, people on chain essentially, and for East Denver, for example, it's used to confirm that you are really that person that is trying to claim, right? What you apparently won. That's one part. The other part is verifying, for example, your tax liabilities. So they're doing all of this and they're connecting it essentially to your wallet. So you can really verify as you. I mean, I have 18 wallets, obviously only doing this with one of them. But I think it's kind of important to do these things. I have a quick call to take. We'll see you guys next week if I don't get back in the next few minutes. Okay, Roro, good luck with the call. You're all good. Bye-bye. Let's hear it. Last thing before closing the session, let's hear from Strata Trader about his answers to the questions, to the magic questions.
Oh, Stella. Yeah, I think today excuse me, I have to go back. I went through the questions and I'll just be very brief. I completed them all last year, so I'm just trying to remember what I thought. But, to the first question, what is your general feeling about political systems and decision-making in organizations that you've been a part of? So my answer is, I feel that political systems have a purpose because they're meant to be the voice of the people, okay? Decision-making in organizations, from what I've seen, when people get, let's just call them, elected into various roles, they tend to lose sight of what is truly important to the people who put them in those places. That works in political democracies, private entities, and whatnot. So I don't know. I don't like putting them as positive or negative feelings about those experiences. I would just say that they are personal reflections I have of how we can do better. We should always strive to do better in life and better within society. So I'll leave it at that. And I can always probably elaborate more at another time. But what would be the things that we would change? What we would change about systems and things that I would keep? The thing that I would say that we should change is that I think if we start to approach political and organizational decision making from a continuous improvement perspective, and forcing certain terms of every single role, right? Because once people get into certain political parties, organizational powers, they create what do they create? They create a kingdom around them. They create a protection, like a moat around them of people who will protect them. That we should wipe this out at every organization. Every role should have a term, a start and a finish date, and then once your finish date is, you have to move on to something else. So I think that would be a very interesting mechanism for us to adopt or examine. Why I'm taking this course, because this is who I am. This has been my world since 2013, and I will continue to live in this world. And what I hope to learn or take away, I would just say everything I heard from everybody today, I was in a listening mood today, and I'm really inspired by people sharing their thoughts around mental health is one of the most important things that I think that we underestimate towards progressing our society. And so I'm really happy that one of the individuals was sharing that, as well as some of the other visual types of representation from the bound, whatever that was called, I forgot. But and lastly, what do I hope to achieve with this knowledge? And what would be the dream outcome of having learned this topic? So I would just say, what do I hope to achieve with this knowledge? What do I hope to achieve? I'm not going to say I'm going to achieve. I am going to change the world. Plain and simple, full stop, right? I believe that I have to change the world because I have two daughters who my philosophy of life is that I need to leave this world in a better place than what I entered it. And if I don't go out and make that difference for my daughters and every other daughter, son, whatever, thank you. I think that it would have been a life wasted for me. So that's what I will do. And so thank you for the talk. But yeah, appreciate it.
That was really awesome too.
Yes.
I have the same goal. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, I really like your answers. Right on top. I just have one question. Because I too am a believer of term limits as far as political whatever. But my thing is that with shorter term limits, how do you actually have long-term thinking with politicians and things when your limits are not as long-term? Which is, I think, is a problem in general. Like everything we do is for tomorrow, short term, next year, not having the long view of things. That's just a thought.
It's an excellent thought, and it's something that I have been thinking about, and I would never pretend to say that I have the answers. The thing that I had thought about is the fact that I think that we need to take the direction out of the hands of people. We need to put the direction in the hands of the organization, because the organization is a collection of multiple people. So what happens is that you have people that join these institutions or organizations, and then they bring their views on what needs to happen. I say we need to take the direction out of individuals' hands and vote, like the whole, whether it be whatever voting mechanism you use, let's create the blueprint from the collective wisdom of the entire organization, and then put people there to execute on that vision. Not bring your own flavor. Oh no, I think it should be like this, or I think it should be like that. And I've sat at various senior leadership and whatever seats and spoken to individuals, and at the end of the day, they end up having a myopic view on the world because they bring their own lens when they really should be trying to fulfill the needs of what the collective group had actually put them in place for. And so my philosophy is that let's cut out the bullshit of their egos, because let's be honest here. Anybody that seeks a lot of people that seek higher level leadership roles can sometimes be, I'm not saying everybody, can sometimes be egotistical. So we need to take that ego out of that role and say, look, here is the plan that the collective group has agreed to. You are in the role now. You have to move the yardstick forward. And how we're going to measure you is on the KPI of that plan, on how you executed, you corralled, and you led that organization there, and then give them a cutoff. Next, let's go next. Let's go, because how many Lutras, how many Stellas, how many Roros, how many anybody have been out there who have I'm sorry, I don't know all of your names, Supernova and Grayscales. How many of you are out there that have beautiful views on the way the world should be? And it's a shame that we never get a chance to get a line of sight into that. So, Grayscale, it's a fantastic question. What I shared is just my 2 cents of what I think, but it's not fully thought through. But I would just say that, yeah. Does that make sense, Grayscale and everyone else?
Yes, it did. Thank you very much for that input. I appreciate it.
Oh, no problem. Sorry, Supernova, I'm not sure if you were going to say something.
Sorry, I wasn't on call. What were you saying?
I didn't know if you wanted to share anything, or I thought you were going to say something.
Yeah, actually, I just want to suggest something here. If we could, guys, do 2 sessions per week. I don't know if that's appropriate.
That's not feasible for me, honestly.
Oh.
I'm so sorry. We can ask Rohan, but also you guys can meet up in here whenever you want, right? These channels, they're not restricted for like these study sessions just per se. So if you guys want to meet up, like there's always an opportunity to do that. It's like there's just too much going on in my life. I wish I could spend more time in here though, but I'm also part of Machinations, and and I'm part of like the scholarship committee here, so it's already like taking over a lot of time in my life, to be honest.
You know what? I was just going to say to that. I think if you can have like a little, if others want to meet and talk, like we're all very busy and I travel a lot too. So what I'd say is that maybe let's connect in subgroups and just say, hey, I want to, if there's topics you want to talk about, we can always coordinate something where it's like a little mini mastermind group. I hate using the word mastermind, but it's a collection of.
You're such a pinky in the brain.
Yeah, but I'm open. It's just as long as it's flexible and we can.
Yeah, we can discuss about this topic. I think it's really interesting about the collective individuals, and I guess it will change the world. And I love the confidence in you, Strata. I think you're gonna change the world for sure.
We don't have a choice, my friend. I don't think any of us have a choice. We have to. You know what? That's just how I see it. So, I wish us all the best. But I have to drop. I have another call with another individual. But
let me just quickly say one thing for next week. Let's try and read the section Algorithms as Policy and Autonomy. Okay? Can we try and do that? I know, it's a lot of reading.
Would you be so kind to put it in the chat as well?
Yes, I will mention those sections in the chat for you. You're all good. Okay, cool. So yeah, go out there, change the world, and have a good weekend.
We're all gonna make it.
Guys, thank you for sharing these insights. Really.
thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye, guys.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.